I mean, there's a lot of VR games, PSVR games that we didn't mention, but do we have to?
I didn't see any of them when I was in Target or Toys R Us today.
Yeah, what's going on there?
Some other people said that their Target had them. I don't know about Toys R Us, but so I just don't know if Target. It doesn't seem like this was a very well coordinated launch at the big box stores. Like this was nowhere near like a console launch or anything of that nature. Like Toys R Us does not have. Toys R Us has had no signage whatsoever. There wasn't a place for it. There wasn't like a sign that said it was out. There was
Best
nothing.
Buy had one.
I would expect Best Buy would be on top of it more than Target or Toys R Us would. But Target they had it there. They had the controllers and everything. It was there, but just none of the games were out, and there wasn't a place for the games yet.
I saw one of the listeners or one of your followers posted a picture of a Target that had some games, but they were on the bottom shelf.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. I don't know. It's still available. I think that's not a great sign. But I mean, we knew that. It's a $500 accessory.
I'm a little bit surprised that it's so readily available.
Yeah, I didn't think they would make that many.
I don't think they did.
So is that the problem? Is it really that?
It's $500.
It's $500.
Stop yelling at me, guys. I'm on the same
hard
page as you.
It's hard not to say $500 without an exclamation point or in all capital letters.
So it's like a Wii U game,
right? I mean, you walk into the store and you see it there, and you're like, maybe. And then you look at that price, you're like, I cannot justify this.
You know what it is like, I said this to you guys earlier today. I could think of 8 games that I want this holiday season more than virtual reality.
The other problem is I didn't even realize that if they say it's not for kids under 12.
So you can't use it.
I mean, if you want to torture your kid by... he's going to want to do it.
This is the most fun I've ever had. Can I try it?
This is awesome.
No. Go back to your loser room, loser.
Right. Just come back. Don't worry. Just like 3 more years.
Have fun playing that PewDiePie iPhone game.
Look who's talking.
I'm going to be flying my X-Wing.
I mean, I didn't even realize that kids are not supposed to use it. And that's... I mean, come on. It has no chance. I mean, I'm sure that the games are fun and everything, but I think it's going to be hard to justify.
You really think parents are going to just not put it on their kid's head because it says so in small letters on the back of something?
I think they're not going to put it on their kid's head because it's $500.
Right, plus a PlayStation 4.
And the camera and the move remotes.
No, the $500 includes that.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Sorry, I thought you said $400. I was half listening.
That's just a very expensive price point for an accessory. And I don't understand why when people are talking about the Scorpio, they think that $500 or $600 is craziness. And when they're talking about it, like, a whole system, that's not the main system. That's a premium item. I mean, this is an accessory. It's crazy.
And a lousy one at that, really.
No, what do you mean lousy?
It's lousy.
It's got good reviews.
Lousy.
It's lousy.
It's lousy.
Well, look, let's be honest. The games that we played on PSVR are far from the cream of the crop.
Pretty sure that the 3D for the Sega Master System was better. Because Missile Defense 3D was pretty good.
Right. Well, Wombat knows.
I do. I had that.
One day,
it's just such a weird. It's always been such a weird move. This thing, because it's the Sony we're doing it because we can model, which they've done that for years. They're going to put out a product and hope there's a market for it. But it's like it almost seems like a deterrent for the PS4 now, because you see a PS4 there and then you see an accessory for it that's more than the PS4.
Right.
That's
weird.
Yeah. It's like, am I buying this product that then I really need this other $400, $500 thing for it as well?
Don't you think that it's a lot more easier to explain to a customer that this is a $600 Xbox that is really like a premium product, but you can get this $300 Xbox here, which is also, which is like the normal version. Don't you think that's a lot easier to explain than a $500 VR accessory? Or maybe not. I don't know. I think it is.
I don't know.
I think it is.
I think they're both hard to explain.
I think it's a lot easier to sell that Xbox One because there's so much more you can do with it.
Well, unless
there's so much software.
Yes and no.
For it.
I think the Scorpio only, the real value of the Scorpio though is if you have the TV to go with it.
Sure.
Well, sure, but no. Regardless of that, even if you were just going to hook it up to a normal TV,
it would work.
It would still be better.
It would work. There's plenty of software for it.
But is it better than
that it's going to be supported in the future?
Is it better than a $250 Xbox One?
It should be.
If you don't have the TV that goes with it?
Yeah, it should be able to do, you should be able to get 1080p 60 frames per second, at least.
On every game?
No, they would have to on games that support it. And that's the real question. Like, how many games are going to support?
Yeah, I was going to say, because if you're just buying an Xbox One then, a year from now, for the first time, there's a significant backlog of very good games that you'll probably be able to get relatively cheap. Right. So I don't see, that's where it becomes a hard sell. It's not a console for new adopters.
But I think what Shipwreck is saying, it's a lot easier for some guy to say, hey, I just want the best Xbox and put down $600 or $500 than it is for somebody to walk in and see a PS4 on a regular PS4, a PS4 Pro, and now VR. They're all, and the VR is $500. I don't know. That seems a lot more confusing.
I don't know. I think the guy who wants the best Xbox is the same person that just bought PlayStation VR this week.
They're not, though.
No, they're not.
They're not.
Totally different.
There's
people.
some of them, like it's certainly an overlap there, but
the Madden guy is
there's so much more. Like for your value, for your $500
or $600. Come on,
or $600. There's just so much more like applications to an Xbox One than there is to a PS.
Yeah,
VR.
there is definitely significantly more applications to it on an Xbox One than there is on PlayStation VR. I'm just saying there's a fine line between the need for an Xbox One and an Xbox Scorpio. That's where I'm.
Well, we just don't know. Look, we have a reasonable idea of how much software is going to be coming out for the PSVR in the coming year. It's probably not a lot, by the end of next year. I would think that for Scorpio, we don't really know. We would have to guess to see how much support it gets in terms of the back catalog and going forward. And that's really impossible to guess. It really depends what incentives Microsoft offers, I guess. But I would say if I had to bet, I would bet that you would get more value from the console.
Well, yeah, and it's the same thing as if you're going into the store. Are you going, like, you have two PlayStation products here that are competing against each other this fall as well for that same $500. You've got the PlayStation Pro or the PlayStation VR. Like it's the same thing. Like this product over here has so much more like application in my life than this VR thing does. The VR thing is like this. It's this technical like kind of gadget thing.
Gimmick.
I don't want to call it a gimmick because it's something.
But it's still, Wiimote was something too. It captured the fucking world's imagination for a little while there. Just swinging that stupid plastic thing. This is a lot more technically involved, but I see like this having a much steeper hurdle to climb, to clear.
Have they had the PlayStation VR on Ellen yet?
I don't think that they could really show that.
They could show Ellen wearing the helmet and then showing what she sees and her reaction to it. I can see that being entertaining.
You got to pay for that, right?
Yeah, Sony would have to pay for that, yes.
Are they marketing this stuff? I don't have, cable TV. Do you see a lot of ads for VR?
There's the Taco Bell ad.
Okay.
But that's
other than that,
I haven't seen much.
I don't know. Anyway, somebody wrote in and wanted to know what we thought the secondhand Gunmetal Jacket wanted to know what we thought the secondhand VR market would look like. Are we going to see people unloading these things around the holidays to get some extra holiday cash?
I think that's what a lot of people think they're going to be able to do. And I don't know that. I guess maybe once it gets closer to the holidays, you might be able to at least get your money back on it. But I don't see these things just making it like a ton of money off of buying a $500 item and then reselling it.
Oh, is that what I wasn't sure if he was asking from that perspective or from the buyer side. Looking to pick one up. I don't know.
I'm not sure.
I think the buyer might make out better than the seller with this one.
It really just depends how much marketing there is around it. I mean, think about when Microsoft put out the Kinect. They spent a fortune. It was a relaunch for the console. And it worked out really well. And I think that this is pretty similar to, this is a similar thing that Sony's doing, but without that marketing push behind it.
Yeah, but the Kinect launched at $150.
Yes, a huge difference.
Yes.
I mean, you can't, it's not fair to compare the two.
I think, the Kinect comparison it's a really difficult one to work through properly because
the prices.
The two things are just so vastly different. Like Kinect is something for the living room for your whole family to get up and like dance to.
Yes.
Right? I mean, it's you bring the grandparents in, you bring the little kids in. Like it's the all-inclusive, you don't have to be able to use a controller type of thing.
It's a shame it never really worked.
It kind of worked. It was kind of remarkable what they achieved with it without it like fully working.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, without it fully working.
Right? Like it's the Kinect. It worked okay. And the tech was neat at the time. I still play it weekly because I'm playing games with my daughter now because it works in that capacity.
Just like VR.
No.
Not like VR.
No.
The opposite of VR.
It's the opposite. It's so...
I know.
It's so solitary.
It's that picture that you put on Twitter this morning of the guy in a box.
Right, in the Shibuya station.
Yeah.
Which I guess was an ad, or I don't even know what it was, if you can come try it, or they had a model sitting in there. But boy, didn't that look sad? It was like a white room, like a model white room with a guy sitting in it with a VR helmet on, and it looked like it should have just had like some heroin on the table or something. I don't know. It looked pretty solitary. But hey.
And I really hope that everybody that bought one enjoys it and it gets support. I don't think it will, but
it seems like it does have a surprisingly large amount of software coming out, at least at launch.
At launch. Yeah. Launch around launch. Because on a developer side, I'm sure it's fun to do.
Sure.
Like to make a VR game. And a lot of these games are playable with or without VR.
And a lot of these games are smaller.
Right.
In scope.
Well, someday, VR will be ready for me.
But will you be ready for VR?
We'll see.